Hi y'all, welcome back. What we're doing today is we are freeze drying ice cream. I loaded up a short a couple months ago because dealing with ice cream, I just couldn't get a whole video because of the melting issues. And with this, we went ahead and we scooped them in here earlier and then put them in the freezer. They're not frozen yet, so it's pretty hard to defrost them all out. They're going to start melting again. So as you can see, it's not that easy to deal with this. But anyway, we put them in here so that we can get them in the freezer so that they wouldn't melt. And now the freeze dryer is ready, and I'm going to go ahead and just try to get these on there the best that I can. You can see that they're already melting. So some of them are a little bit more frozen. That was the last one that we did, I guess, because that one was all, I don't know how you're getting them out of there so easily. Oh yeah, they're much easier to deal with when they're nice and solid. So those must have been the ones that we just put in the freezer when we got done, because these right here are pretty solid. But we've scooped them out with a little scoop because we like the way they look. And we filled up the little trays, and now we're coming and we're putting them into the bigger tray so that we can go ahead and put them in the freeze dryer. And we're trying to move quickly because they melt pretty quickly. So there's two of us working so that we can get it done. If you want to go ahead and start putting, we've got these, we've got the scoops, and I think I have one more tray. Yeah, I have one more tray of scoops to do, but we also have ice cream sandwiches. And so those are pretty easy. You know, you cut them, you stick them back in the freezer. They're not a big issue with those. So these are frozen and they're going into the freeze dryer. Handing him the tray. So we've got two trays of the sandwiches. We had minis that we cut into fours, and then we had the Neapolitan that we cut into six, and those went in here. You can put those two in. And yeah, so the Neapolitan, because they were the bigger ones, got cut into six. The minis got cut into four. And I think we used 9. We used 9 of the regular size Neapolitans. This one is not that frozen, so I'm going to see, because I don't know if we'll need them all. I'd rather deal with the more solid ones. This one's not either. And so, yeah, guys, this is why the last time it was a short, and beginning to think that trying to do this long is not ideal either. But we're doing the best that we can. I like them. And they're not completely solid frozen, so that's why they're kind of melting along the way. We'll just have to deal with that, whatever. But it's because we have got to, it's late, and we are trying to get them in there and go to bed. So, all right, so that was it. So we did, like I was saying, we did 9 Neapolitans and 12. All right, so we loaded the trays into the freeze dryer, and I'm closing the door. It says load trays into the freeze dryer, close drain valve, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you that. And it says load trays into freeze dryer, close drain valve. We closed the drain valve. I'm going to go ahead and click continue, and now it says freezing. And then it'll do its thing. It'll go ahead and freeze for however long, and then it'll do its drying, and then we'll bring you back when it's done. And so if you see, it was already, we let it do its cooling. It cools down for 15 minutes. We let it go however long. I didn't look at the time, but it was more than 15 minutes because then we had to get everything in there. But you can see it's 58 degrees. You don't want to put ice cream. You figure our ice cream is frozen. We don't want to thaw it out or have it melt. And this temperature is at 57. But I did speak to Harvest Right, who assures me that the temperature will drop down quickly and that I don't have to worry about my food melting or anything like that. So the ice cream looks good in there. You can see the temperature's dropping relatively quick, so I'm not really concerned about it. It's dropped several degrees in just a minute that I've been talking to you with that there. And if you look, frosted on the inside. So I'm not too worried about that. We went down a couple more degrees. Anyway, guys, we'll see you sometime tomorrow or the next day when these are done. All right, y'all. Well, it's the next day. The freeze dryer says that it's done, and it said that it was done, and I gave it an additional 3 hours, so we are now at 15 hours. I'm not sure that it's done. The last ice cream batch that I did took like 22 hours, but I'm going to go ahead and open it and see. So I've already opened the drain valve, and I'm going to take the trays out. And what I'm going to do is, I don't like breaking them or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'll just weigh them, and then I'm going to put them in for 2 hours. So it doesn't matter whether they're done or not at this point, because I'm still going to put them back in for 2 hours. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with those first 3. And what I do is I just have a sheet, and so that was tray number 1, and it's telling me that it's 1,061 grams, and so I'll jot that down, and then once I put it in for another couple of hours, I'll take it back out, and if it hasn't lost anything, then they'll be done. If it's lost some weight, some grams, then that's telling me that it wasn't done. And that's just the way I do everything, not just the ice cream. So I went ahead and put number 1, I went ahead and put it in a different area of the freeze dryer, a different shelf. Now, let me show you this while I'm at it. See these right here? How different they are from these right here? Okay, remember when I was scooping them out and they were melting and nice and soft like that? So that's what happened, because they weren't completely frozen. And when I put them in there, I didn't add any additional freeze time. Had I added additional freeze time, the freeze dryer would have been able to go ahead and freeze it completely. They would have been completely frozen, and then it would have turned out like this, which these were already completely frozen from our regular deep freezer. So that's the difference in those. So we were in a rush. We wanted to get it in there, and had I just left them in our deep freezer till they were solid, we wouldn't have this. The taste is still going to be the same. They're still going to be good, but they're not as pretty as these right here. You know, these are much prettier than these. And then if you look on this shelf, we had a combination of ones that were pretty good and frozen and some that weren't. So you see the difference. So I think as for in the future, I think that I will add, if I'm doing ice cream, that I will still add to the freeze dryer some additional freeze time, just so that Yeah, you don't want to add extra hours. You know, you have a lot of things to do. It's just more waiting. But if I haven't had them in the freezer, in my home freezer for at least 24 hours, where they're just completely solid, then I'm going to add more freeze time just so that I don't have these. I mean, they look, you know, they're not as pretty as the regular ice cream scoops, but I mean, they look like little puffy clouds. They remind me of those treat snowballs, I think they're called, or something like that. That's kind of like that reminds me of. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh this one. And start putting them back. And aren't the sandwiches beautiful? They're just so pretty and perfect looking. All right, so I am closing the door to this again. I'm going to go ahead and go for the 2 hours, and then we'll weigh them again and see if we've lost anything. And then we haven't lost anything, they're good to go. And if we've lost some, then they go in for another couple of hours, and I'll check them again. All right, y'all, so it has been the 2 hours that I gave it the extra 2 hours, and they were done. So they were actually done at 15 hours. But I went ahead and put them in, but I took them out and I weighed them, and they're all the same. And they were probably done before the 15 hours when the freeze dryer said they were done, which I believe was at 13 hours, but I wasn't here to weigh them. I let them go the extra 2, so maybe next time I'll go ahead and check them at 13 hours, which is odd because the last time it took so much longer. But maybe it was in the middle of the night and I just let it go. So this is it. That's what they look like. If you want to hear the crunch, I'll go ahead and grab this little one right here. That's what they sound like because they are completely dry. And these, I normally have a gallon jar that I fill up. These are for gifting, but I have a gallon jar that I fill up with these, and then we just pick at it whenever, and they'll be good. So these are good. These don't require any refrigeration. Exciting, right? So remember, they're not completely frozen. You're going to have something looking like this instead of looking like this. I could have fixed that by letting it sit in the deep freezer for at least 24 hours, or by adding extra freeze time to the freeze dryer, which I did not do. But that's okay. They just expanded a little bit more. They're good. So there you have it, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Till next time.